Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening. Hope everybody is well. Everybody's doing good. Going to be making some a Survivor group. This is going to be the last of the Survivor Saturdays. Um, and if you're new, by the way, maybe you're checking this out later, or you are viewing tonight and you say, hey, who is this guy? What is he doing? My name is Paul, aka Flint Fireforge, and I help DMs run epic games at their table. Just put a new video out there today about doing a session autopsy. So if you're interested in that, there'll be probably some links down below you could catch. But tonight, we're going to be focusing on making a survivor group. Now, let me tell you about a couple of things as we're waiting for people to come in. If you're joining us, thank you for being here. You're welcome to comment. You're welcome to get in the chat there and stir up all kinds of things, as chats are known to do. You're welcome to ask questions. Encourage that, of course. And I do want to let you know just about a couple of things. The reason I'm making these survivor groups, for those that may be wondering, is that my latest zine, which is number 7, The Survivors, is a part of my Hex Crawl of Horror. And this is a random generator to D12. I think there's 20 tables in it where you can roll up a survivor group, because in my little world that I'm creating, in my little setting, it's, there's been terrible things that have occurred. The Witches of the Blackened Earth, that's their new name. Their original name were just the Witches of the Guardian Grove. But now they're the Witches of the Blackened Earth because they got selfish and they wanted power, and they got mad at the gods. They did a hex to try to get their grove back in order, and, well, it didn't quite work the way they expected. So now this is a fantasy apocalyptic zone that they're in. And so you're bound to run into some survivor groups. So when you think of survivor groups, you think of things like Mad Max, or you think of The Walking Dead, or any type of, post-apocalyptic type of setting. And so in fantasy gaming, of course, you want to have some groups that your group wants to run into. And I'm going to share with you just a couple of those here in just a second to kind of go through it. I do want to let you know just a couple of things. Let's see. You can. This is available, by the way, in my store, and there'll be a link down below, and you can find it. Let me just show you that you can get it as a single, or you can get it in a bundle. And this is the hex. You can see there, the Hex Crawl of Horror is the initial zine that I did to kind of get the ball rolling, and now I've been building it out. Whereas some people go top down, I kind of go from the middle and work outward. And so I just started with hexes. I started with, I want to make a simple way to make my own little hex world, my hex crawl, my little world there that I'm doing. For me, what is simple for me, and maybe hopefully it's, simple for other people as well. But I break that down, and then I have the issue number 5, Witches of the Blackened Earth, which talks about the witches in there. It breaks down some things there. It kind of builds out from there. And then I have number 6, The Corrupted, which is all about the undead and new kinds of undead you can use in your game. This is system agnostic, by the way. There's no, rule set or anything like that. It's just I put some things in there that are going to help you, just port it right into your own game if you want to do that. Tim Story, who's my DM over when we do our Shadow Dark games, has decided. I saw a bit of it today on his live video that he did with Joe the Lawyer, and that the Hex Hills are going to be a part of his little universe there. So I'm excited about that. And of course, number 7 there, The Survivor. So this is a bundle here. Like I said, you can get just the Survivor by itself, or you can get the bundle and be able to do that all together if you're interested in the whole package. In fact, I will drop in the chat. I'll go ahead and let's see. I'll go ahead and drop a link there. right. And if you want to get the bundle, you can get the bundle. Put that over there. And boom, there it is. You can get it for yourself. All right, all right. Let's see. Hey, David Thompson, good to see you tonight. Glad you're here. Thanks for being a part. And like I said, tonight we're going to be jumping in and doing our survivor group for tonight. I have I printed out, and I didn't do this before, and I don't know why I didn't think of it, but I went ahead and printed out my survivor sheet here, but I have a cooler one. This is blank. It looks bland. This is the kind you get. This is the one you get in the zine. You can just copy and paste and make it like that way. But what I've decided is I made it a little bit different. I went ahead and put in and made it a little bit colorful here. As you can see here, just kind of added a few graphics, just added a few graphics, make it a little bit prettier. So I have that as a PDF. So when you download the Survivor zine number 7, Crit Happens number 7, I just have a PDF separate that you can use this for yourself. And then you don't have to worry about doing all that stuff and, organizing and trying to get it just right. You're welcome to do it yourself. I mean, clearly. But I said, I'm going to try to make it easier if I can for those of you. Yes, David, listening whilst working. It's like whistling while you work. Okay? But thank you. I appreciate you being a part tonight. So let's go ahead and I think there's just a couple of other things. Oh, well, let's go ahead and do, let's see. Yeah, we'll skip all that. I think we'll just go into what I have noted here as previously on, like when you do, hey, Vance, how are you? Good to see you. Previously on, like I was thinking MacGyver, like previously on MacGyver, and I show you what's happening, right? So I want to show you the last 2 groups that we made. And by groups, they're in the, when we roll, you'll be able to see that you can roll a solo one. And we did, in fact, the first group that I rolled was a solo survivor. And that was Fury. I named her Fury, and that's her. I did a little AI thing for her. And there she is. She is riding on a rhino, because I think chat decided she should have a rhino. And so I said, yes, we should put her on a rhino then, because there's nothing that says post-apocalyptic as riding into town on a rhino. I love it. And so we'll do that as well. And then my second one that I did is the intellectuals. And this was a group of intellectuals, professors, teachers, all kinds of academics, and maybe, some scientists in there, whatever, say, hey, we told you this was coming and you ignored us. And now they are mad. And I think I've decided to call them the prophets. And they're just the prophets. They said, we told you so. We told you this was going to happen. We warned you about this thing, and the government officials did nothing. And so they are very angry at all the government officials, and they're taking it out on them. So that is what they're doing. So that's a fun group to have, because they're really smart, and they are tricky. They are tricky. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll bring up let's see here. We will bring up the PDF. Get rid of all this other stuff. Let's see, get rid of that, get rid of this, get rid of that. All right, let's go ahead and switch over to here. And let's see, it'll make me just a little bit smaller there. And here we are. And so we're going to go ahead. We're going to roll our D12s, and we're going to find out what we have here. And it gives you a little bit of context at the beginning, just so you know, as to what this is all about. Why are there survivors? What is the extra call of horror? There's all the table of contents. And then there's the survivor, a couple of survivor stories in there. And then we get into the deal. There's this talks about the survivor groups, building your survivor group, gives you all the tools there to do that. And here we have, you have a survivor group origin story. You can do that. I haven't worked all of those things out for these groups. And like I said, we're going to be focusing on just building a general group. Of course, when you build yours, you can add your background to it and so forth. And we will go to group size. Let's start with how big a group this is going to be. So let's go ahead and roll. And I got my dice here. So let's go ahead and figure out what we are going to do here. All right. Let's see. D12. All right, here we go. All right, how big a group is this going to be? Okay, it's going to be a handful, so this will be new. So I will write it on my sheet here that I'm working on. So a group is going to be a handful, which is 5 to 10. And a small, tightly knit band of survivors, often family or close friends. So we have kind of a family group, all huddled together, that when the hexing happened, they quickly banded together. So we'll say 5 to 10. We don't need a perfect number or anything, but we'll say 5 to 10. You can decide that on your own. There's a lot of room for you to do what you want to do here. So there's no me telling you have to do anything. I just say it's 5 to 10. So if you want to make it 7, or if you want to roll on a D10 and say, okay, how many do we have? I would probably put me. I'm going to put 8. 8 sounds like a good number. Excuse me. All right, so as we move along then, we will then go to the survivor demographics. What is this made up of? Mostly. So, and I will take notes as we go along, and by the end of this, we will go ahead and finish and have a finished group that can be able to drop right in. So when I run a game, you'll see Fury in there maybe. Maybe the Prophets will make an appearance, right? All right, let's see here. A 4. So what do we have? It's predominantly female, a matriarchal society, emphasis on combat prowess. So I would say then the demographic is going to be all female. And this could be for various reasons. It could be because the men all died. And I'll put question marks here for me. Men died, husbands died, fathers died. Or they could be out fighting. They're lost, or whatever. So, but right now it is a band of women folk that are together, but they are bad to the bone. So we will go ahead and do that. Then we'll go to the survivor group leader style. So what do we know about the leader of this all-female group? This is, once again, it could be, I'm going to say it's all sisters. They're all sisters with their kids. So I'm going to say, we can say that there are 3 sisters and, let's see, 3 sisters and 5 kids. Okay. I like that idea. Keeps it nice and tight. Keeps them all connected. Then what kind of leader style we're going to have? Let's go ahead and roll and see what kind of leader style they're going to have. Let's see. Leadership by committee, governed by council of elders or experienced members. I don't think that's going to work for this group. Let me try again. See what else we have. Okay. I think we've done that one. I'm going to roll one more time, and then I'm going to pick something, I think. Okay. We could probably do I'm going to do the mystic. I'm going to do the mystic leader. I think that would be a fun thing. Let's do the mystic leader. One of the sisters has some kind of power, possibly. One of the sisters has some kind of mystical ability to them. So we're going to say that that is what they have. Okay? So we have a mystical leader, one of the sisters. And who is it? Where's the, what do I have here? Oh, here we go. And this reminds me a lot of the 7 sisters from the Forgotten Realms. So I'm thinking that's kind of where my head is. just so you know. I'm thinking the 7 sisters here. So we have 3 sisters, and these could be some bad mamma jammas. So we're going to find out if they're on the side of good, if they're out there causing trouble. What are they doing, right? All right, so let's go on down to then group fortification. How are they surviving, or where are they surviving at? Let's go and find out. A 4. Okay, they have an underground bunker. Underground bunker. All right, the underground bunker, a pre-existing bunker with limited air and water supply, but offers excellent protection from elements and threats. So they have limited water, but they have great protection. So we don't know where this bunker is going to be yet. It could be in one of their homes. It could be at a military installation. Could be any of those things. But we're going to say that it's an underground bunker somewhere. We can decide that later. Okay, let's go ahead and say food and water. Well, we've already said their water's limited. But let's go ahead and just see what happens here as we kind of fool around with this. Okay. They do have, so they are farmers. So they're farmers' wives. Okay. So they know something about farming. So they have an underground bunker, and they have probably figured out how to grow some small plants, things like that, around the bunker. Once again, it depends kind of where the bunker is. We don't really know what that is, but we do know they have farming ability, so they can cultivate crops and raise livestock within the confines of their settlement, or in this case, their bunker. Maybe they have some chickens that lay eggs, right? So they have something there. And, I know when you think bunkers, you think these just dark, dank, things sometimes. It didn't say they have no water. They have limited water. So it could be underneath one of their farms. That would be interesting. Underground bunker underneath the farm. So if they're down, if it was dug down into the farm, it could be in the barn. It could be, under the soil somewhere where it's just there's kind of out there. But so they have access to things, and they have to be careful at night when they kind of do it. So they do have chickens. They do have, they're not necessarily out in the open per se, but they're in a bunker. Doesn't mean they don't come out. It just means that they have one, so they can be protected. Okay, let's go ahead. So that's that. Let's go to how are they doing on medical supplies? How are they fixed on medical supplies? A 3. Oh, wow. Okay. A member with advanced medical knowledge and surgical skills. Okay. So one sister is a mystic. One sister is a doctor. One sister is a doctor. So that's pretty good. Or nurse, right? We put doctor, nurse. It doesn't matter which. Either one's fine. So, okay, so we have medical supplies. We're moving through this pretty good. All right, military training. Do any of them... I think this is where this is going to go. I think this I already have in my head here. Let's find out here. 8. Former slaves forced to learn to fight for survival, developing a brutal and efficient combat technique. So let me roll that again. I'm going to keep that. Military training, former slave. I could say former prisoner and get away with that too, right? You can, once again, these are unique things here. You can, that's what the whole point of having a table is, not that you don't read it as is. It's this oracle. It's giving you ideas. It's feeding you information that you can play around with. So let's say one of the sisters is a former prisoner and she is bad. She's got prisoner skills, right? One sister is a prisoner. I think that works out, right? One sister, mystical. One sister, doctor, nurse. One sister is a prisoner. I think that explains the family dynamic right there. That one of the sisters. Oh my goodness, David. What does David say here? David, in a Morrow Project game we played, the only medic we ended up with was a veterinarian. Yes. Well, you got to set bones, right? It's not the same bones, but similar, right? Somehow, you know. So, hey, it happens. We can make it work, as they say. So we have, once again, farmer. We have on a farm, underground bunker on a farm. We have a mystic leader. We have a doctor nurse, and we have a former prisoner who is bad, who really takes care. She takes care of the heavy work. She is tough as nails. All right, let's move on. Oh, one of the survivor groups we met was a gang of crazed nuts who worshipped a magic 8-ball and followed its advice. Oh, that's so good. That is fantastic. That is a fun idea. What should we do now? Tell me later, or ask me later. Ask me, like, what do we do now? Yes. Oh, okay. Let's see. Van says, cue Far Side Horse Hospital cartoon. Okay. I don't remember that one, but that sounds like I'll have to look that up. All right. Weapons and armor. How are they fixed for weapons and armor? Let's go ahead and roll the D20. 10. Focus on traps and ambushes. Utilizes traps, snares, and other methods of ambush to overcome enemies. Okay. Traps and ambushes. And that works, right? Because if you're hunting for food, and just because one person's a mystic, one person's a doctor nurse, and one person's a former prisoner, they may all have the ability of traps and ambushes. They may have gone hunting with their father, and they all learned how to do things, right? So we don't want to trap people into certain roles. They can all do it if you want to have all of them have that ability. And so I think that's fine and dandy. All right, so that's weapons and armor. That's how they do their thing. And plus, if I say that their husbands were alive, then their husbands play a part in this as well. I'm sure their husbands in a fantasy post-apocalyptic, if depending on if they were farmers, which is fine, but I'm sure they had some other skills as well. Let's see about combat tactics. If they have to fight, what are they going to do? How are they going to do this? Yes. So we got a Home Alone situation where there are probably traps and ambushes, probably some pits that are dug around the farm. Should you come on the property, that's going to be a problem for somebody. What else can they do? A 6, psychological war. Utilize fear, intimidation, and propaganda to demoralize their enemies. Okay. How would they do that on the farm is the question, right? That can come from the mystic, by the way. The mystic may be the person who can do that. I'm going to write down psychological warfare. I'm going to roll another thing, though. Psychological warfare. And then I will roll another one just to see what happens. Okay. Siege warfare. Skilled in laying siege to fortified positions, utilizing siege weapons and tactics. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go with the psychological warfare, because I think the traps and ambushes do some of that, right? That's some, that affects that. If people are getting eaten up by traps, if people are getting eaten up by these things, that can be demoralizing. That's some psychological warfare, right? But I'm going to put Mystic next to that because I think she has some abilities to do that. We'll find out what those are. Rules and law. And by the way, you can always skip anything. If it doesn't fit your thing, skip it. Rules and law. They're family, right? We've already established that they're family. They're not going to use martial law. They're not going to use a lot of things. So I may just skip rules and law because I think they're just family. They're going to care about each other. They're very different in how they do. I think maybe I would choose a guest right, a sacred tradition of hospitality and protection for travelers. I'm going to put that down because I like that about a family. They're cautious, but they might entertain bringing somebody in. They may or may not, right? So I'm going to say they lean towards guest right. Okay. I probably should put an S on that, but guest rights. A sacred tradition of hospitality and protection. I don't see another one. But they all may have different ideas, by the way. They don't all think the same, these sisters. One could say guest rights. Let's see what else is on there. Let's see what else. Let's do that. Ban on violence is strictly forbidden within the group. Okay? So maybe the doctor nurse says, nope, no violence. Okay? No violence. And then the third one would be a strict code of honor. A rigid code of honor emphasizing loyalty, courage, and respect for elders. If you put guest rights, one of the sisters says, let people in. Somebody's saying, let's not use violence. And then the code of honor could be the prisoner. And we need to start thinking of a name for this particular group. At the end, we shall name them who are not named. We shall name those who are not named. So we'll give them a name. Let's talk about religion. Let's see what their religious and spirituality looks like. Okay. All right, a 5. Nihilism, belief that life is meaningless and devoid of purpose. Once again, they may all have different opinions here. So there's only 3 of the women with their kids. So would one of them be a nihilist? The prisoner could be. Devoid of purpose, meaningless, devoid of purpose, just fight. I don't like that. I don't like that for the family dynamic. Let me roll again. They can all be different, but I'm just kind of spitballing here. Cult of personality, worship of a charismatic character and divine figure. Let's see. Sisters. Okay. David says Sisters of Mercy. Maybe. That could be a survivor group. And you bring up a good point, David. I like that name because we think of a survivor group that they all got to be terrible people. And yet when you watch movies and things like that, there's always these kinds of groups who favor humanity, who favor trying to get back to being human. Yeah, it doesn't fit. Vance, are you saying that Sisters of Mercy doesn't fit with the mystic dynamic? Or is it something else that I said that doesn't fit? Is it the, a group? Oh, are they? Maybe. Could they be a group of nuns, David? Maybe. They could be. Cult of personality, I would probably say not charismatic leader as a divine figure. No. I would say mysticism. At least there's some of that. Belief in the power of the mind and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. I would maybe vote for that there's some mysticism there. So I'm going to say mysticism because of the leader's ability to do something yet. We don't know. It's a mystical leader of some kind. Nihilist doesn't. Nihilist doesn't fit. No. Nope, not at all. All right, so I'm going to go mystic. So let's go then to their attitude, hope, and despair. Let's see what we have there. Utopian vision, believe in rebuilding civilization and creating a better future. I can see that. I think they are optimistic, right? Hope and despair. I'm going to put optimism. Utopian, right? They believe that the world can get back to where it is. The doctor, I think, nurse would feel that way, I think. The mystic will feel that way. The prisoner, maybe not so much, right? Battle nuns. Listen, if you play 40K, and I've played 40K, you have the Sisters of Battle. I call them the nuns with guns in 40K. They're the Sororitas Adeptus, I believe they're called now. So yeah, I'm going to say that they're optimists. So they're farmers. There's a very strong family dynamic here. All the sisters are very different. Let's go down to trade and barter. What do they have? How do they do things? Active traders. Engage in frequent trade with other groups and exchanging goods and services. Okay? That's probably good. We'll go with that. Active traders. And once again, they have a bunker, which, I mean, I'm sure they have housing as well. And the bunker may not be where they live, but just like you'd have a bunker like they do out, in various places that have tornadoes, out in the Midwest and Oklahoma and other areas, there's a space you can go to that is ultimate safety, right? So we would trick that out a little bit. But they're active traders. So who they're trading with? Now, of course, this brings being an all-female group that, they're going to be tough. But that they have to be careful who they're trading with. That optimism can get in trouble, right? Anybody who's in that situation, you got to be careful of the optimism. All right, so that's true. They're going to be active traders. Then we're going to go to alliance and rivals. Let's see what they have there. How are they doing this? Well, if we go with battle lines, they're constantly at war. They're trying to actively trade, but they're in. I don't think that speaks to them as a family unit. So I'm not going to do that. What do we got? What else we got? No, I don't like that either. So somewhere in between, I rolled a 1, which is no alliances. I don't think that would be either. I would say they would just do a trade alliance, which would be form an alliance based on mutual trade and economic benefits. I don't think they'd have a secret alliance. I don't think they'd have no rivals. Dominant force. No, I think I'm going to go with trade alliance. I think I'm going to go with that. That they formed a defensive. Formed an alliance based on mutual trade and economic benefits. So they have a trade alliance. So because they have food, they are growing some food. We don't know how bad it is. It depends. And a lot of this depends on, like, when you look in, depending what's nearby them, right? Because if I really just trick this out, and I will do this in a future video, when you get the hex crawl of horrors, you have to say, well, who's in the area? Because I have in there are 12 different groups, right? There's hexing encounters. So you have what's active in that area. Is it the spirit world? Is it cultist? Is it the undead? Is it armies? Is it dragons? So I would trick all that out. You'd have to find out, right? And you could do it before or after. So if you said, no, let's find out who's in the area, because then it would inform it even more. But you can always go back and change it too, as to what you're going to do. There's a Hell's Wrath, which is, holy smokes, if demons and things are running around. Are the witches and warlocks there? Are there marauders? Are there monsters? It depends who's in that 6-mile hex of them. Who's around that can cause trouble? Who can they build alliances with? And if you had multiple survivor groups, we'd have to determine, right, who they're going to, what that dynamic would look like. If you had another group of survivors that were close by, it's a farming area, so we'll kind of go from there. We'll figure that out. Van says, look up Begwins for potential inspiration. Am I saying it right? Begwins? Begwins? I'm going to have to look it up here, right? Okay. I'll look it up on my phone. That way I don't have to change my screen. Let me just go ahead and I'll look it up real quick. Begwins were a group of Christian women who lived in communities in the Middle Ages dedicated to prayer, service, and God. They were not nuns, but were bound by permanent vows. Begwins were inspired by monastic. I like this. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to screenshot that. Beheens. Okay. Beheens. And I need to... I will put that down because if it's mystical, and I'm thinking I'm getting like a Mother Mary type of thing, right? That one of the key figures in there is kind of, might have some of that in her, Beheens. So we'll see. I'm going to go back and look that up there. All right, let's go to, let's see rivalries. We can do that. Their alliances trade, but maybe there's a rival in the area. If there is, what is that rival? The rival is feared by others, feared and respected by other groups who avoid conflict with them. So in other words, there's a group in town. I don't like that, but I'm going to go ahead and roll that again. Let's see, a 5. Well, we already did that. Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to another. We'll get to another thing. Let's move along, shall we? All right, exploration and expansion. So what is their attitude towards exploration and expansion? And not all of these are going to apply to every group. You're just kind of work through it and see if it does. Great. If it doesn't, you see what happens. All right, no desire for expansion. That works for them. No desire. I rolled a 12. No desire for expansion. Content with their current situation and have no desire to expand. Right, so that's not that kind of group. They are homesteaders. They are at home. They just want to protect. I'm going to write that down. Protect the farm. And that may be something, right, that their husbands drilled into them. Say, hey, we're going off to war. We've joined an army. We've done something. And now we need you to defend the farm. Protect the farm. Okay? All right. So is there magic in survivor groups? And I want to thank Vance for helping me out on this because I did not adequately communicate. So the question is then, right, is there the sources of magic and are anybody hex touched? I'm going to go ahead and say that the mystical lady is hex touched. The question is, what is her ability? And once again, you can go and decide, say, oh, we're going to be, high magic, low magic. There's, you can roll on a D6 and say in a 2D6 and it'll determine that for you if you want to do that. Or you just port it in and say, we have a high magic system. Then fine, you just go with that. Don't worry about rolling that. Okay. All right. So what is this? What does this young lady have? She has empathy. The ability to feel and understand the emotions of others, which would track. But I would trick that out a little bit. I'm going to put empathy. Well, let's see here. Hold on here. Okay, I know what I did here. Okay. All right. So we're going to say that she's hex touched. She has empathy. Let's see if she has. Let's check the other sisters, though. She has empathy. Or one of them has empathy. Let's say this. Let's say that the one sister is empathetic, has empathy, has some sort of empathy powers, what that would look like. I'm thinking, what's her name from Guardians of the Galaxy? That was winds up being Peter's sister. What's her name? I can't remember, but she has some sort of empathy. Like she can be able to touch somebody and discover their emotions or get a past memory, something like that. So I'm going to say maybe the nurse person. I'm going to say doctor. Why would you just call it a doctor, Paul? Just a doctor. Okay. One sister has empathy, has some sort of empathetic power. And maybe she can imbue it on somebody else. She can infuse somebody with empathy. I'm going to put infuse, right? She can receive it and discern it, but she can also cause it in some way. All right. So we'll say that. So one sister has, what are the other ones hex touched? Let's see. A 9. Let me go ahead and roll. Let me see here. Hold on. Keep touching the wrong things. Where did I put? Hold on. Why am I looking at things? I'm trying to find something very specific here, and I don't know what. Oh, there it is. I didn't see it. Maybe I need to make this bold. Hex touch. Greater standard for high. Standards. So one definitely has. I'm going to say they all have been hex touched some way, because I think that benefits the story too. That they all have been touched in some way. All right. 5. Okay, so what is 5? Let's go. Somebody has invisibility. Okay, so one sister. I'm going to say that the could be the prisoner. One sister is the. We'll decide here. Let's see what the other hex is. Okay, ability to cast spells through incantations, gestures, or other means. So I'm going to say that the mystical sister. She's mystical because she's a spellcaster of some kind. And I'm going to make the sister prisoners can turn invisible. And that's based on, say, Paul, well, how do you determine these things? Well, whatever is your system you're using. Once again, this is system as agnostic. So you can use whatever system. Is it the same as, if you're 5e, if you're doing an invisibility spell, if you're doing Shadow Dark, if you're doing, is it advanced invisibility? Is it, temper, if you're invisible, but if you, attack or are attacked somehow, you're not invisible anymore. So whatever you use it for your system. All right. So the one sister has empathy. One has, the prisoner can become invisible, which that works because she's dangerous. And the mystical sister, she is a spellcaster. All right. I like it. I'm liking it so far. All right, let's go along there. So all three of them have abilities. What is the source of this magic? What is the source? 6. Natural inherent ability possessed by certain individual and races. Okay, so I'm going to say that the one sister, the spellcaster, is going to be innate. She just has it, and the other two got it because of the hex, because they received it that way. So let's see. Let's keep going. Source of magic, school of magic. What kind of school of magic does she have? She has illusions. Okay. Let's see. Source of magic is innate. Okay. And then the School of Magic, we said, let's see, she's got to do School of Magic is going to be illusions. Okay. So she has that mystical ability. All right, let's see. Let's carry on here. Limitations and risks. So what happens when they use their abilities? I'm going to make this, well, I could once again make it all different for all three if I want. Time required to cast a spell. Okay, so let's add that to her, the mystical sister. It's innate, but then she has a certain time required to cast a spell. So she needs time. Time to cast a spell. All right. So she's got to prepare. So if she's a wizard, then she would have a book. She has to study, right? How about the other limitations for the other ones? 12. Overuse of magic can weaken the caster's soul. All right. I'm going to say that's going to go to the doctor. Doctor is too much equals it equals weakness. Weakness of soul. Maybe she becomes unempathetic. Maybe she's like, I'm not going to fix you. Maybe she gets disgruntled. She doesn't want to do that. And let's see about our third, our prisoner. Let's see. Oh, I like that. A magical addiction. Every time she uses it, she craves more magic. Okay. All right. I like it. I like that. All right. Let's go to Survivor Group Magic. Do they have any magic items? We're going to say yes. The question is how many. So I'm going to roll 1d4, and we'll see how many magic items they have. They have 1. What 1 magic item do they have? Let's roll a d12. An 11. I rolled that for another thing. Let me roll it again. Okay, they have a scroll. Okay. And we don't know what that is a scroll of. Let's go back to let's go. Keep touching that screen. Let's go back to Hex Touched. What is it a scroll of? And once again, you can do this in your own, whatever your game is. You can use a whole nother oracle for this. You can use whatever you want, whatever your system tells you. I'm just going to use this because it's here. It's handy. Let's see. It is a scroll of. Well, it is a scroll of elemental manipulation. Okay. In other words, they can. Let's see. It's the ability to control the elements: fire, water, earth. And I'm going to say in this case, it's going to be earth, because maybe that's an emergency. They can go ahead and call upon an earth elemental to protect the farm. Earth elemental to protect the farm. And it'll show up for, 1d6 rounds. Let's say. Okay. All right. All right, let's scroll back down to, we have that. We have Survivor Group Magic. We already have one. Then I give you little snapshots in here of the Survivor Group snapshots. Religious Group Generator. So if you want to have somebody, we just want to roll up a religious group generator. Say, hey, here's a group of them. You can do that. Sample survivor groups. You have those. The ghost hunters, the nomads. I think there's 12 of these. The engineers, the cannibals. Some of these are trophy, right? You can use those. And then it gets down to the worksheets. That brings us to where they're at. So the question too is, who are they allied with? We really don't know who they're allied with. I'd have to roll up another group to say, who once again determines a little bit about who is in the area that they're allied with. So you'd have to roll up either another one to say they're allied with this particular group in the area. Is it, are they allied with, a group of, if they're in a farming area, maybe they're, let's see, well, who would be in a farm area that they could ally with? Could be a group of cattle farmers. They do cattle. So maybe they're allied with, and once again, you don't have to roll that up, by the way. You can flesh it all out if you want. But you could say in a farming area, right? It could be the milkmen, as they're the milkmen. Right? They're allied with the milkmen. It's where they get their fresh milk from their cows and things. Or the goatmen. I like that. They raise goats. Somebody in the area raises goats. Yeah. So I am open to more. I'm open to other ideas. So if you have names, because they're going to be allied with and they're going to be enemies of, I could say this, if depending, once again, who they're enemies of. Let's see. I'll look in the Hexcrawl of Horror. Who will be their enemies? I'll roll a d12 here and we'll see. Who are they enemies of? Cultists. So I would say, you could say they're the enemy of cultists and they're allied with maybe another survivor group, or they're allied with marauders, which doesn't sound very good. I'm going to put army. There could be an army. There could be a, what am I thinking here? An impromptu army is called a, what are we talking about here? Let's see. Because marauders, I don't like army, but army can take on, when you think big army, or you think of a, group. What am I talking about? What am I thinking of? You join a small citizens group army. Help me, chat. What am I thinking about? Why am I blanking here? But I think you understand what I'm saying. They're a, let's see, militia. Thank you. That's what I'm thinking in my head. They can be part of a militia, right? So the army, it could be that their husbands, if they are alive, are part of a militia, and they are allied with the militia for various reasons. So they are enemies of cultists. So we're going to say that cultists are in the area. We don't know who the cult's of yet, but they are the militants are the militia is put together, and they are allied with them against other people. That's not their own. There we go. Thank you, Vance. You probably with getting right as I was as doing it as well. So we were on the same timeline. But let's see here. Let me go back to this. But yeah, I think that's it. I think we have gotten our. I still don't have a name yet. The Sisters of Mercy. I like Sisters of Mercy. I like Sisters of something. If they were evil, we could call them Twisted Sisters, but but they're not. They're good people, so we won't make them that. So we will say they are Sisters of something. I'm going to keep there that they are. I'm going to keep Sisters of Mercy, and let's see. I will come up with some other things, and they can just have a name. I'll figure it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. I think we got it. I think we got it under control. It only took us about an hour to do so, but that's okay. That's about normal for here for the channel. I want to remind you again that if you look in the chat, if you have not received or gotten your Crit Happens number 7 yet, I'll put that up there. You can see that. You can buy it in the single version as just number 7. It's over there in the store. There'll be links down below to all of those things. Luke. Oh, let's see. Macho Women with Guns RPG has a supplement called Renegade Nuns on Wheels, a motorcycle nun group. Perfect. I love it. And then Lucretia. Yes, Lucretia would be one of the sisters. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, so if you're interested in number 7, or if you would like to buy it in the bundle, there's the bundle. You get all 4 of those for one low price. You can check that out. And but I want to thank everybody for joining tonight, for hanging out, being a part of the chat. I'm definitely going to look into. I think I'll come up with a for these Beheens. I think we could find something there that would work. That would kind of go with our theme here for these this very small family that's trying to protect this farm. I am liking them already because I can see so much that's happening here. They're friends with the militia. The town at least has a militia that goes around, is trying to protect everybody. And there are these adversaries, cultists, cultists in the area, those type of things that, and it's not, once again, it's not chaos. It depends who's in the area. It depends what's going on, right? It can't be constant chaos all the time, but there's enough chaos there that things will happen. But that's what we're going to do it. I think we got it under control. But thanks, guys, once again. If you haven't clicked the thumbs up button, go ahead and click the thumbs up button. That tells me you like stuff like this. Helps the algorithm and all that good stuff. But other than that, I hope that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. I hope that you enjoy whatever it is you have going on. I hope you have some gaming going on. If so, enjoy that. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me tonight. And I will see you guys hopefully this week in another video. So we'll see you guys later. Don't forget, if you're not subscribed yet, you're watching, be sure to subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.